Hi, good morning, everybody. Mike Toy here, National Brokerage. Thanks for tuning into the webcast today. It shouldn't be too long. I just wanted to talk about planning and strategy for 2019. And it's not going to be a real in-depth, complicated subject today. I just want to help bring some awareness to maybe what we've been doing and form just some simple strategies and simple methods for how to increase the life and annuity business going forward. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and skip to the next slide here. Okay. Quick introduction. Mike Toy, Regional Sales Manager here in Boise, Idaho at National Brokerage. We've been partnering with agents and agencies since 1996. You might see our logo of NBGO around the internet if you do any searching for us. That's our universal application service. So you submit a quote and our app team takes the app over the phone for you. So that's a little bit about us. Okay, so as stated before, really, I just want to bring awareness to what our current methods are. And I think if you're anything like me or like a lot of people out there, we get into our daily grind of what we do and how we do it. You know, we work hard, we look for opportunities, and we seize them when we get the chance to. But what I'm going to talk about here is just taking a real hard look at how we go about getting live sales and how we go about asking for live sales, and maybe just develop some real simple techniques to make it easier so that it doesn't feel forced and it doesn't feel like something that you have to do. It's just part of your routine. And B, you can increase sales quite a bit really just by employing some very simple strategies. So the first thing I would do and the first thing I do is ask myself, just internally, just ask what is and isn't working. Where do I feel that my game is weak? And I'm brutally honest with myself, and I look for those areas. So I would encourage you to do the same. Just look at how you run your shop and say, what is and isn't working. What are some areas that I want to see improvement on? And just make mental note of that. Second, take a look at how much life and annuity business you did in 2018. Maybe it was a lot, maybe it was a little, maybe it was the same as it's always been. Who knows? But definitely take a look at it. And I would say more often than not, you will be surprised by what you look at. I am every time. When I look at my production over the previous year, it's always different than what I had in my mind. And the longer I go without looking, the more surprised I am when I do finally look. So I would encourage you to take a look at your production over the past year. And then lastly, ask yourself, what is stopping me from selling more? Let's say I did X amount of life insurance sales in 2018. Let's say I did 10,000 in premium. What's stopping me from 20,000 in premium? What's stopping me from 30? And just ask yourself that. Is it that the sales aren't out there? Can't be that because the sales are out there. Is it because I don't offer enough? Is it because maybe I do offer enough, but people aren't following through? It could be all kinds of things. But it's important, I think, to identify the reasons that the production isn't higher than you would like it to be, and just make mental note of that. And then, as stated, we're going to develop a strategy and a plan for 2019. So we know we want to increase sales, right? Everybody wants more sales, but how do we do that? I mean, we can't just wave our magic wand and have more sales. So we're going to talk about some simple techniques now. Moving to the next slide. All right. So real quick, just want to point out the difference, a strategy versus a plan. So your strategy is your overall idea of what you're going to do to accomplish your goal. It doesn't get into the nitty-gritty details, but it's just an overarching idea, keeping the goal in mind the whole time, looking far-sighted and saying, this is the end goal that I want, and this is the overall strategy I'm going to do. I'm going to market more. I'm going to offer life insurance, even if it's just mentioning it. I'm going to do some email blasts and just do some online marketing. Some other things you can look at doing is just learn one new life product or concept rather than looking at it as a whole and feeling overwhelmed, which I think we all can do sometimes. I mean, there's got to be some area that you're not an expert at. And when you look at that area, it can feel overwhelming. You can look at it and say, gosh, I just don't know this at all. I'm just going to stay away from this because I don't feel confident enough about it to mention it to my clients. So a way around that, or a way to conquer that, is to just pick one life product and just get to know it thoroughly. Even if it's a 10-year term, just get to know that 10-year term. Is it convertible? What age is the cutoff to convert? Is it 65? Is it, just learn the little nuances of it. Become an expert in that one product first. And then once you become an expert in that one, learn one more. And you'll notice that it gets so much easier each one that you do, because you've got that knowledge foundation from the previous one. So, and it doesn't have to be a product. It could be a concept. It could be pension max. It could be life settlements. It could be conversions. It could be anything. So just pick one concept or one product and just learn it thoroughly. Um, Thirdly, you can tell yourself, I'm going to have consistent follow up so that my efforts aren't wasted. That way, I'm not offering life insurance and quoting life insurance and knowing that life insurance, but I don't really follow up with my people. I just wait for them to call me back. So what happens is I'm losing sales that way. So one way to not waste your efforts is to just create a system and a pattern that you follow for follow up. I'm gonna call my clients back 2 days later, regardless of how the conversation went. Even if they said yes, even if they said no, or whatever works for you and your clients. But have a consistent follow up plan so that you're not wasting your efforts. And then the fourth one, which really I should have made that one first, because it is, I think, one of the most important ones, is utilize your resources. People like me, people like your rep here at National Brokerage. This is what we do. We specialize in this so that you don't have to. You don't have to be an expert in just this alone. Chances are you sell other types of products too, property casualty or health or whatever it may be. So utilize us as much as you need to learn the products, learn the nuances, the underwriting, the processes. So I would definitely encourage you to utilize us. So that's a few examples of an overall strategy. So now we're going to look at how to plan for this strategy, and that's when you actually detail out exactly how I'm going to do it. So here we go. So planning. So as I said, your plan should spell out what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. So I know what I want. I want more sales. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to market more. I'm going to utilize my resources. But how exactly am I going to market more? So it sounds great. How do I push the button to make that happen? So a couple examples. Example one, I'm going to just ask my client and prospect, do you have the new kind of insurance or the old kind of life insurance? That's how I'll get the conversation going. So it's not a hard left turn into life insurance conversation, and it doesn't feel abrupt. It's smooth, and it's a transition. So when you're talking to them about other things, you just say, "Do you have the new kind of life insurance, or do you have the old kind?" Well, gosh, I don't know. What's the new kind? Oh, it's the kind that you don't have to die to use. It's got living benefit riders. You become critically sick or chronically sick, and then you can go into your conversation about how that works. But that is just one idea of how to get the conversation going. So if you're not doing something like that, I would encourage you to use it. Use this one if you like. And we have a lot more. Talk to your rep. We've got a lot of good techniques for getting the conversation going, which dovetails perfectly into my next bullet point. Lean on your rep for marketing materials and tools to send email blasts. I know that I know a lot of people would they like the idea of sending out email blasts to their client base, or whatever list they have, but from a practical standpoint, they just don't know how exactly to do it. Where's the button to do that, and where do I get these materials? Do these materials have our brand, your brand? I mean, how does this work? Get with your rep. It is actually much easier than you think it is. I mean, we've got flyers for days that we can easily put in your OES system that you should have a login for. If you don't, talk to your rep. We put a flyer into your email system, select the clients you want to send it to. I would just encourage you to send it to all of them, and then just send it out and do that regularly. You can set it up and schedule it a year in advance if you like, so that one a month goes out to all of your clients. I mean, are they going to be banging your door down every time to buy life insurance? No, but you will get some sales out of it. And if nothing else, you're staying in the forefront of their minds. You're keeping them aware of life insurance, which adds credibility to what you do. And it's free and it's easy to do, and you've got people right here just ready to do it with you. So if you're not doing it, I would highly encourage that you do it. It's the easiest and frankly one of the most effective ways to get the situation rolling. Um, Going back to previous when we talked about learning a new product or a new concept, talk to your rep. Uh, just have a conversation with us here and let us know what type of client base you work with. Maybe it's all retirees, maybe it's all young families. Who knows? It could be anything, but have a conversation with us. And then based on that, we can help steer you in the right direction as to what product it would be worth learning first. You don't want to learn final expense products if you deal with young married couples, or vice versa. So, if you're not quite sure which one to start with, just get with your rep and we'll help you get that going. So, and then lastly, going back to having consistent follow up, just set yourself a reminder. If you don't have a system for doing that, if you don't use Outlook or calendar of some type, we've got those tools in the OES system that if you're not sure how to do it, just get with your rep and we'll show you how to set those follow up tasks. That way, you are sure once again that you're not spinning your wheels for nothing. You're not wasting your efforts. You're actually capitalizing on all those efforts and reaping the rewards. Get forward here. There we go. So these are some example flyers I just wanted to point out real quick. I'm not going to dive too deep into the marketing materials, but I just want to give you an idea of what we're talking about. See, so the flyers here, you can see this one. Life insurance isn't for you, it's from you. And it's got a couple kissing and hearts. So it's pretty easy to put your logo and your contact information on a flyer like this and then send it out to everybody on your list. And once again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but if you're not doing something like this, you should be because your competition probably is. And this type of thing is free and easy. Everybody has email and it keeps you in the forefront of their mind. So it's not as hard as you would think to do it. And you've got resources here to help you. So definitely ask your rep about this and we'll help you get set up. And these are just two examples, by the way. We've got just tons and tons of these flyers and we can help you pick the right ones based on your client base. So just wanted to give you a quick idea of what those look like. I'm going to move forward here. Here's a couple more conversation starters. If you're looking for just ways to get it going without sounding, abrupt, like we talked about earlier, just smooth ways to get people talking about it and get the conversation going. One really effective one that I had heard recently, and you can, change up the wording a little bit to suit your style, but you just ask, do you know how your beneficiaries are designated? And then you just pause for a moment. Their first gut reaction will probably be, yeah. And then you wait. Are you sure you do? And I'm positive people will think about it for a second and go, well, I mean, I think my kids are my beneficiaries. Or maybe it's well, gosh, I guess I've been divorced since then. Oh, no, it's my ex-husband or my ex-wife. They're my beneficiaries. Oh, my goodness. So it just gets the conversation going. And you're doing them a favor by bringing it to their attention. So that's a good way to get the conversation going. Use that as you like. And then secondary to that, after you ask, definitely follow up with, why don't we double check? Let's who's your policy with? Is it with this carrier? Is it with that? Let's get a copy of it. And let's just take a look. And then while you're there, of course, you're going to look and do a policy review and say, oh, goodness, you are paying far too much for your life insurance. Chances are they probably think they've got the best deal out there because so and so told them that this is the best one and they knew him. So, of course it is. But if it's one of these Allstates or State Farms, they're all great companies. They don't specialize in life insurance. So chances are you'll be able to find a more competitive fit for your client than what they've got. So definitely find a way to do that policy review and just get a look at what they've got and maybe save them some money and increase your business at the same time. Another conversation starter. Do you know how much coverage you have? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You'll probably get a response something like, "That's I I think it's about 250,000, or maybe it was 500. Again, it just gets them thinking about it, and next thing you know, it's like, well, maybe we ought to look at this, even if it's the best thing. Let's just make sure that it is the best fit for you. You're not trying to sell them anything. You just want to make sure that this is the best fit for them. And if it is, definitely recommend that it is. That will help your credibility. And then later on, they'll remember you as that guy or that girl that looked at it, recommended that they stayed with what they have. You didn't even go for the sale. You were looking out for their interests. So if it is the best thing, definitely recommend them to stay. And another caveat to that is, do you know how much coverage you have? Do you know what type it is? Does it expire? If it expires, when does it expire? Is it through your work? What happens if you quit your job? Can you take it with you? Can you convert it? Can you port it to a different, there's all these questions. Maybe we ought to just look at it to be sure. So just some ideas there on how to get the conversation going. I won't harp on it too much. Annuities. I wanted to talk about annuities for a minute too. So I think a lot of people don't know that we do annuities as one of our primary lines of business that we do here. So if you don't do annuities, they're very easy to do. There's no underwriting involved. If you do annuities, get with us here. We've got actually an annuity specialist that will bring on the call and can answer questions for you. But here's a good conversation starter for annuities. You just ask, how much interest is your money getting from the bank right now? It's just an indirect way to transition into finding out, do you have money in a CD somewhere or in a savings account or under the mattress? And then just let them know that you have a CD conversion program. So even if you're getting the best rate out there, a 2% interest rate, you can turn that 2% into 4% and possibly even, get some type of bonus in the process. There's a lot of different options. So CD conversion program, I think, is an easy way to let them know that there is something better out there than what they've got right now. So that's a good conversation starter for annuities. So let me go to the next slide here. There we go. Okay. Couple other points about annuities that I wanted to point out. So an average annuity, and I'm using some rough math. I think the actual average was like 99,800, but I rounded up. I just want to keep it easy just to give you an idea of what's out there that you might be missing right now. So the average annuity is about 100,000. The average commission that you would see on an annuity is about 6%, give or take. Some are higher, some are a little lower. So if you do the math, that's $6,000 in commission that you would make on an average annuity sold. Average close rate is about 20% or 2 out of 10 cases. So here's some simple math. If you offered annuities, if you used that little one-liner of the CD conversion program, and you did that as often as you could, but let's just say you had 10 conversations and you closed 2 out of those 10, that's an extra $12,000 per month that you're making that you weren't making before. I mean, it pretty much speaks for itself. So, and if you, like I said before, if you don't do annuities and you're just not comfortable, lean on us. That's what we do. So definitely let us help you with that. All you have to do really is just use the conversation starter and just talk about it. Just get the conversation going. That's about all it takes, really. So, so get with your rep. I won't harp on it too much, but wanted to just give you a look at what's out there. So make a goal, stick to the goal. You don't have to be an expert, just lean on us and we'll make you an expert and we'll be the expert for you when need be. Moving forward here. Conversions. Are conversions the most exciting thing out there? No, but they are a huge part of the most successful agents out there utilize conversions more often than they go after new sales. And here's an example why. This is actually a real story that I personally did with an agent a couple years back. Just by doing a policy review the same way that we just talked about a minute ago, the same way that we would anything else, we looked and the client was 59 with a 10-year term that they had purchased 9 years ago. They were approved at preferred at the time, and not standard, but preferred. But since then, they had developed cancer. So that means they're not going to get a new policy. When this policy expires, that's it. They have cancer. They're not going to qualify for anything else. but they still had an option to convert that policy into a new permanent policy. So because of that, we ended up converting that policy from a $1,300 annual premium to a $31,000 sale just from doing a policy review. That's what's out there. Now, is it a great success story? Yeah, they won't always be like that, but a lot of them will. So it's worth learning just the basics of how conversion works, learning what to look for, and making it part of your routine. I'm going to move forward here. We're moving along. I wanted to point out about National Brokerage too. We're not just another broker. We actually have a broad range of services that we do here. So I think one of the most valuable resources that we have, not to toot our own horns, but is your reps. We've got a lot of reps here. Some of these guys and girls, they've been here, 15, 20 plus years. So they've got all this expertise and all these connections with underwriters and reps at carriers. So things that take years and years to establish. So utilize us, utilize our expertise in our all of that experience. That's something that you can't buy. That's something you can't just walk into. It takes a lot of time. So you've got it right here at your fingertips. Definitely utilize that. Underwriting guidance. Again, that's one of those things that you just almost have to specialize in life insurance to really know all the niches and all of the nuances. Which carrier is most favorable with marijuana? Is it medical marijuana? Is it recreational? Is it an edible? How often do they smoke marijuana? All these different things. I mean, how would someone know that if they don't specialize in it? But that's what we do here. We specialize in it. So we help you find those nuances for marijuana or sleep apnea or diabetes. Someone has diabetes, type 1, type 2. What's their A1C score? There's all these things. So just some great resources for you that if you're not utilizing us for one reason or another, I would highly encourage that you start doing so. Give us a call. If you don't have a rep, just give us a call at our 800 number and we'll assign a rep to you. So definitely use us. And then NBGO. NBGO, I just briefly touched on it earlier. I'll briefly touch on it now. It's the universal drop ticket service. So most of the main carriers are compatible with this. So Protective and Banner and Transamerica and all the main carriers for the most part. So in a nutshell, you go to the website, click on NBGO, you run a simple quote, talk to your client. If the client likes the quote and everybody agrees that's what we want to do, you click submit. It'll ask for your information as the agent, and it'll ask for the client's name, phone number, and email address. And then our team will call them on your behalf and take the application over the phone so that you don't have to. You don't have to download a 40-page app anymore and go through it and then miss a signature here or a date there. We do all of that for you. So if you haven't used NBGO yet, or if you haven't seen some of the newer changes, definitely check it out. Talk to your rep and maybe just try it. Do a sample case or a couple sample cases, however you want to do it. But it's a great system and it's one of a kind. All of the application specialists are all in-house employees. We don't third-party that out. We take pride in that. So won't be a dead horse there. Just if you haven't used NBGO yet, definitely give us a try on that and see how it can work for you. Gonna move on here. And that's basically it, really. I know I covered a lot of ideas in a short amount of time. So this recording will be on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't found us yet there, just go to YouTube and search for National Brokerage or Nat Brokers, and you'll find us. Subscribe to the channel, and you can see this webcast along with other sales tips. There's a lot of different videos on there. There's tutorials on how to submit an NBGO case. So if you like the idea of it, just not sure exactly what it was you had to do, there's a tutorial on there. There's a tutorial on how to do your e-contracting, so you don't have to do paper contracting. A lot of different sales techniques and product explanations. What's the difference between a GUL and an IUL? Those type of things are there. So go subscribe to the channel. And most of all, I would say in closing, give us a call, talk to your rep. We can help you with these goals and with those marketing materials that we looked at earlier, and figuring out what products are the ones that are worth learning versus the ones that maybe they're great products, but they just don't fit your clientele. We'll help you determine all of that. So in a nutshell, that is basically it. Uh, I just wanted to thank everybody for joining the webcast today, and I want to let you know that we appreciate you as agents, and we look forward to helping you have a strong 2019. And if we don't talk to you, have a happy holiday season, and we'll talk to you after the holidays. Thanks. Have a good day, everybody.